Alright, in this video we're going to go over the basics of your naval units, and I'm going to divide it up in two. We'll go over the Union and then the Confederates on the next video. You can see I've got the recruiting screen pulled up here showing all the extra units that you can recruit. Obviously these are the ones we've talked about earlier: infantry, cavalry, artillery. But over to our right, this is where you're going to get your extra naval units. Now, we've talked about transports earlier and how they're going to be used to transport your units along the coast or do amphibious invasions. Remember that for each transport you buy, that increases your transport capacity by 1 unit. So you can transport 1 unit per transport that you have. These other 3 here, these are the ones that are going to come into play when it comes into your actual naval combat. Your warships here in the middle, these are your basic ones. They are going to enforce blockades, or they can attack a Confederate port city. Now, ironclads are similar to warships, but ironclads are more of a defensive unit versus an offensive unit. So the ironclads actually cannot intercept the blockade runners that the Confederates have. They do act as a protection, as a guard for your warships, but they do have the ability to attack southern ports as well. So they can attack the southern port cities to help reduce their fortification value, just like warships, but you're going to use these to help protect your warships from the Confederate ironclads. Now, your river gunboats are kind of a special unit. They're going to come into play in reducing the fort strength along cities on the river. Well, I'll show you that here in just a second. All right, so I've pulled us back out to the main screen so I can show you guys the right side here. These boxes, this one here, and then all down along the coast here, up in the northern section, this is where your naval units are going to be produced, and then you'll move them down into the south on whatever coastal city that you want to blockade. So you can see these naval units that I have are blockading these cities, and the Confederate forces will have to use their blockade runners to try to get out, and this is how they bring in some extra income. We'll again touch on that on a following video. Your ironclads are also going to be stationed in these boxes as well. So like I said, you can use these naval units to attack the coastal cities and try to reduce their fort strength. So if we click here, we see that it brings up the cannon icon. We'll click on it. Union fleet attacking Washington. The attacking fleet failed to reduce the fortification level, but no ships were lost. So that's great. We want to reduce that where we can. And again, you can use your warships and your ironclads to do that. Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is when the Confederates produce their ironclads, they're going to be put into whatever naval box they're being produced out of that city. So if they're produced here in Savannah or Wilmington, wherever they're being produced, they're going to go into that naval box. If you have your forces in that box, then it will immediately trigger a naval battle between the two opposing forces. Now, like I said earlier, the other units that you have are your river boats, and you can access those with this little naval icon, the anchor icon down here to the bottom right. Union river gunboats, you have 2 gunboats available. River cities controlled by Union 2. The next Confederate stronghold is Memphis. It's fortified level 2. You see the attack button here says attack Memphis. So there's a list that the game is going to go on, and the highest city that is controlled on that list by the Confederates is going to be the next one in line to be attacked. And it goes Cincinnati, St. Louis, Louisville, Memphis, Vicksburg, and then to New Orleans. So you're going to try to reduce the fortified strength level of whatever's the highest level in that list that the Confederates control. So you see we can click attack Memphis. Our riverboats will attack Memphis, and unfortunately we failed and we lost a gunboat in the process. All right, so in the next video we'll pick up on some of the specifics for the Confederates and how some of their naval units are going to work.